Great morning, great morning. Happy new day, happy Saturday. This is CLB Live coming to you from Listen Vision Studios in Washington, D.C. And I am so honored that you have carved out some time out of your weekend to join me for some inspired conversation with creative thinkers. As always, I am so excited to have you join me, and I'm so excited for today's guest. If you caught my pre-show convo this morning on Facebook Live, you have a little understanding of why I'm so excited about this young lady. But before I introduce her, allow me to welcome you and talk about how you can participate today. As always, our hashtag that you can use on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is hashtag CLB Live. And today's special hashtag to go with the theme is hashtag EmpowerYourself. That's what we're going to be discussing today. So as we're going through the conversation, please feel free to share your thoughts, your comments, and even your questions online. I will do my best to capture those while we are live. In the event that we miss it, don't worry, because the conversation does not end at the end of this show. It is an ongoing conversation designed specifically for you. That's right. So after the show, we will still be entertaining your thoughts, your comments, and your questions, and I'll be sure that today's guest also receives them, okay? Now, we are going to dive into this conversation this morning so we can really talk about how you can empower yourself to achieve what I call living life at its highest potential. And today's special guest, the notable quotable that I'm going to share, comes from her. You were made to shine like the star that you are. And she is none other than Clara Angelina Diaz, who serves those on the road to discovery of their personal power, to increase their confidence and income through the discovery of their life purpose while developing a positive mindset to achieve greatness. What does happiness mean to you? What do you want the most? Clara has been exploring this question for herself and many other people in her life and business coaching practice for the last 7 years. The answers to these questions vary from person to person, but in general, she has found that we all want to move forward in life. How true is that? For you, it may be that next promotion or raise, finally, starting a successful business, having more self-esteem, improving your relationship with money. Hello, that might be me. Increasing your income, attracting your soulmate, going back to school, or just getting your life together in general. Whatever the case, Clara is passionate about working with good-hearted people that want to get ahead in life, have the desire to love and serve from the heart with faith and excellence, while being compensated to be confident in their true self. Now, that is what's in black and white. What's coming from my heart is that this lady is inspired. I believe that she is super awesome. And without further ado, I'd love to welcome the lovely, talented, and gifted Clara Angelina Diaz. How are you, my love?
I'm wonderful, Christine. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. I am so thrilled to have you join us on the show. You look beautiful as always. And I just have to say that your promotion this week, the promo for you appearing on the show, has created a lot of buzz. So a lot of people are very interested and invested in this message that you have to share today. So thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So let's kick this off. I'm so thrilled that we're finally doing this publicly because I said on Facebook Live this morning that we've had several conversations and you I cannot quite put in capture in words how you have impacted my life in such a short time. You're a very inspired lady. So let's
Mm.
introduce you to the viewers. Who is Clara? Where do you hail from? What's your background?
Well, when people ask me where I'm from, I love to tell them that I'm from heaven.
I
Um,
love it.
I'm from heaven, but I was born in the Dominican Republic, in Santo Domingo. I came to the United States when I was about 9 years old. And, being an immigrant has really shaped who I am as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest of six children. And I'm a Leo. So I am a natural born leader, a natural catalyst for change.
Yes.
Seeing people progress really lights me up. Being solution focused, really thinking of, okay, what can we do to make things better has always been the question that I ask ever since I was a little girl. Coming to the United States and, I having to learn English, all the immigrants out there who speak a different language, shout out to you. I think it's the hardest thing a person can do. And if you can do that, you can do anything. Um, people have read about me. I have a coaching practice, but I think at the heart of what I do is really the belief that within all of us lies the spark of the divine, the connection to God that allows us to express who we are in a unique way and also serve humanity in the exact way that we were meant to do. And I think that's what I come here to do, is really be an example, and also awaken that power and that knowing in others.
I am already in love with everything you just shared. And where are you now? Are you in Boston? Is that right?
I am. Yes, I'm in Stoughton. I live in a city called Stoughton that's about 30 minutes from Boston,
Okay.
and I'm coming to you live from my home.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that you share that you're from heaven. I think that is brilliant because we are all coming from that same source, regardless of our geographical, right?
Yeah.
But I also have to say that I love that we share that same trait or not trait, that same background of coming from another country.
Yeah.
Yes, I do think that is special. So let's talk about how you came into this life work. You mentioned that within all of us, there's a special gift that we've been given or gifts from the divine. So how did you actually come to do this work? It says in your bio you've been practicing for 7 years. So what led you to this life work?
Well, the way that I came to this life work is there was a yearning in me for more. I was working in a corporate job. I was quickly climbing the corporate ladder, like many of us,
Mm-hmm.
and I just felt like there has to be more to life than just making a salary, having 2 days out of the week. There has to be more, and I felt this deep, deep yearning for
Yes.
more in my life. And around this time, I was questioning and questioning. I had a huge car accident that gave me almost a near-death experience.
Oh my.
Yeah, and when this happened to me, Christine, I was convinced during this car accident that I was gonna wake up in front of God, like in front of, like, when people say the pearly gates are gonna open.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was still here, and I couldn't believe it. And ever since that day, I've never been the same. I was just completely uninterested in going back to my background is in finance in the mortgage world,
Yes.
and I had no interest in going back there. And at that time, I started painting. Never really had any real interest in painting. I started painting butterflies. And something was awakened in me. It was like a new person was born that day when part of me died at that car accident.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So during the time when I was an artist, I was an artist. I'm still an artist, but when I was painting, I love becoming part of groups, and I went to this group called an art salon. And in the group was a man who described himself as a life coach and someone that helped people validate their natural gifts and the light within. And everything he said, it was like time stopped. And I said, I have to work with this guy.
Hmm.
And his name, I actually want to give him a shout out. His name is Oscar Truitt. And he was my first life coach.
Nice.
My goodness. Working with Oscar, I started to achieve things in my life that I thought I would never. Like, for example, within like a few months of working with him, I had my first solo show as an artist in a gallery in Cambridge, Mass. Very close
Wow.
to, yeah, very close to Harvard University. I mean, I have no training in the arts whatsoever. And I get this like huge, like few page write up in one of like the top art magazines in Boston. I mean, and everything just started like to blossom in my life in a way that I could not have imagined.
Mm.
My goodness. And at this time, I was only about maybe 23 years old, 24 years old. At the time, I also started to dive into looking at, okay, what can I do that's natural to me that I can make money in? And at the time, he helped me kind of think about and my other career, which is interpreting. So I kind of like stepped into this other zone of
Mm.
living
Mm-hmm.
that I could actually make money doing something that I love.
Hmm.
And it was, I mean, I had to literally, I think at that time, I would describe it, I was relearning how to live, like relearning how to be. Because
Yes.
up until that
Yes.
point, I thought that life was all about learning something that you could get this really high paying job for, climbing the ladder, making as much as you can so that you can have like money to spend.
Yes.
But how about the inside? You know, like how about my spiritual connection? How about who I was born to be? How about the fact that who I am actually matters, right? That I'm a woman, that I'm Hispanic, that I was born in another country, like all of those things are for a reason. And I came to get into coaching because I was coached and because I understood that people needed, and I felt in my heart that I wanted to be that person to cheer people on to not just exist and survive, but to actually thrive and really discover their true purpose in life and to live that in the world.
You know what, lady? You are definitely one of my soul sisters.
Mm,
For sure. Folks, I'm calling you Angelina because I love that name. But what
I love
Clara
that name.
I love Angelina. It's so pretty. What Clara has shared with us just now, I caught a few things, Miss Clara. It takes a life altering experience for us to wake up. I've noticed that in life, and thank God that your life has been preserved so that you can carry on this important work. The other thing that has stood out is, which sings to my heart and to the brand of Create, Live, Be, is that creativity is what gives us life. It's what gives us
Mm.
purpose. It's where inspiration comes from. And you sharing your experience, I had no idea that you are a painter. That is amazing. I can't wait to see some of your work. I'd love to share that with our viewers as well, if you don't mind. I would
No, I
love
don't.
to. But I can feel you on that, because that's really the message that I received 6 years ago. I was gifted with this gift of creativity in an artistic sense. I detected it from a very early age, but I really didn't understand it until 7 years ago. and how that gift actually has a bigger message behind it. So I love that we have that in common. But one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I love that you shared that I want to hone in on and transition to our theme today of empowering ourselves is that we grow up learning one thing. We learn that we should get a great education, find that great job, and get good pay, settle down, and that's life. And most of us do that. I started out on that track 20 some years ago. Look, 20 something years ago. Um, and I was unfulfilled. I was grateful for what I was doing, but I was very unfulfilled. I didn't like that other people were dictating what I should do with my talent or my time or my money for that matter. And so many of us get caught into that zone. So let's transition, if it's okay, and talk about your life work and how you are now. What I think you're doing is paying it forward. What Oscar did for you, you are now invested in doing that for others. So can we expand on how can we unlearn? I want to hone in on that piece. What did you do to unlearn what you had learned?
Oh my God, yeah. Well, first, I have to tell you the message that was told to me by my parents, my dear parents, right, who done the best they could to raise me. My father said, "Go to school, learn something that's gonna make you money, because I'm not gonna be around to support you."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, okay." So I said, "Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go learn about money." So hence I started to get a degree in finance. I started working in banking and all of that, very unfulfilled, yet making more money than I knew what to do with.
Hmm.
Um, Having when I had that car accident, it was like something happened. Something happened to me, and the right books, the right people, the right conversations just started coming to me because I knew there. Once like you have this awareness, this yearning, the questioning that there has to be something more to life, and you're open. I mean, the right messages, the right
Exactly.
emails. So
Mm-hmm.
what I actually did is I started reading like a crazy person every single book that someone would recommend.
Yeah.
I had a teacher at the time who I was very connected to since I was in the sixth grade. His name was Hassan. He's now passed on. And he recommended a book called The Peaceful Warrior.
Oh yeah.
And I started reading that book, and then another book would show up, and another book. And then like I said, I read like crazy. I My life, I feel like crumbled as it was rebirthing. And I allowed that to happen. I was very aware of what was happening.
Yeah.
Very, very, very aware. Um, I took on a meditation practice that completely turned me inside out.
Mm.
Completely, it was very messy. It was very messy. Um,
Like art, right?
yes, like art. It was very, very messy. It was
Yeah.
so much so, right, that I continued to have car accidents. I had two additional car accidents.
Is that right?
Yes. And they
Wow.
both happened. Oh my God, it was crazy, Christine. It was 2 months on the 8th of the 8th of the following month, I had two additional car accidents.
Huh.
So the accident that I'm describing to you happened on October 8th. Then I had another one on November 8th and another one on December 8th.
Really?
Three, yes,
On the 8th of each month.
on the 8th of each month.
Hmm.
Three car accidents. And I was very upset that I was having these car accidents.
I bet.
Um, I remember at one of them, I cried on the scene because I couldn't believe, I was like, again,
Again,
another one.
yes.
And all of those car accidents were awakening me. On one of them, it served to help me get rid of a crazy friendship that was not a friendship, that was just a codependency.
Yes.
Everything was like crumbling around me, I think, to allow me to be reborn and recreate my life. I need to get back on topic because
No.
empowering myself. What did
This.
I do? What did I do?
Can we
I
can we
allowed.
pause? Can we pause here? Because what you're
Sure.
sharing, listen, this show is very laid back, and I get really absorbed into the in between stuff. So
Okay.
what you're sharing is very significant to this conversation because a lot of people may think that being on purpose and living in our purpose and going from that transition of unlearning is a smooth sailing process. And when all of these adversities and calamities happen, you may ask, like, why? Why is this happening to me? But that is a part of our process. It's one of my dear friends, Roy. Hi, Roy, if you're watching. He calls it a blessing. It's a blessing and a lesson wrapped up into one.
I like
Yeah,
that.
isn't that beautiful? And so there's no testimony without the test, true, but there's no awakening without all of this happening. The divine has to shake us up. I was speaking
Oh
about this
yeah.
on Facebook Live this morning because we are so inundated with our own stinking thinking, with everything that's happening around us, that if something major doesn't happen in our lives, we will continue to be in that zone, just like drones, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
love, thank you for sharing that. I think that's very significant. Now, maybe offline, because we could take this whole rest of this hour to talk about October, November, December on the 8th. I think that's pretty significant. But we're going
Oh
to
yeah.
reserve that conversation for when you and I are offline. And folks, if you're
Mhm.
watching, I'll be sure to share little tidbits with you. But yes, let's now transition and talk about empowering ourselves. So, what happened after this series of events that led you to this awakening?
Yeah. Well, I had this deep need inside of me that I was like, I want to make. Actually, well, I want to make every dream come true because I felt that part of my life was coming to an end. It was really weird. So I was like, I must achieve everything I want to do. Like, there's no time. This like crazy sense of urgency.
Yes.
Um, so because I had this sense of urgency, I started to, like I said, meditate. I um, a really significant thing that I did was that I started to forgive, like really forgive every person that had wronged me in my life, including my father, which was,
Mm,
I mean, that's a whole undertaking in itself.
yes.
Um, I went on a 10-day retreat out in California. I would have never done anything like that. I decided that I wanted to go back to living in the Dominican Republic. So I quit my job. I packed up everything. I paid off all of my debt and I went to live in the Dominican Republic.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. I mean I was checking things off, Christine.
Yeah. So you
I
were
was
going
going
back to your roots, basically. You were shedding
yes.
shedding everything you had accumulated and accomplished, and going back to pretty much your point of origin, right?
I did. I did. And I don't know if people like I don't know if you're familiar with the heroine's journey.
Not the
Have you ever heard of
heroines.
this?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's this concept. It's like an archetype, right, of a character called the heroine's journey.
Okay.
And just like the hero's journey,
Okay.
where like it's like you realize that they're like you have more to live for, and then you're fighting you're fighting the world, and you go back to your origin and you start to rediscover new things about yourself. And
Nice.
so that's where I was when I saw myself in the Dominican Republic, and I realized how the way my family was constructed, and I realized kind of like my position in my family, I truly understood the power of who I was. I call myself the black and white sheep of my family.
Define
Because
that. What does that mean?
because I will not stand for injustice. I will not stand for domestic violence or staying quiet. I won't.
Amen
So that
to
makes
that.
me the black sheep because, I'm not going to go with the herd.
Yeah.
But I say white because I feel like I do embody the light. I embody the light that's going to come and light up the dark places. And I'm going to call it like it is.
Beautiful. So you're not just calling it out, but you're showing the way to the light, which I love. We are
Yes.
definitely soul sisters. Go ahead.
So when I go to the Dominican Republic, and many of my aunts are beautiful souls, but very broken women, very disempowered women, women with a lot of potential inside of them, but are not expressing it. And I'm coming from the United States, with all my strength, and I'm like, but you can be doing this and you can be doing that, and I'm just like letting it out, and literally people are starting to take more action around me. They're starting to like literally change their lives.
Wow.
And as I see this happening in this short amount of time, I tell myself, I cannot waste any more time because this is my life's work. This is it. Like, this is it.
Beautiful.
If I can do this with my own family, I can do this with anyone who comes to me for help to live more in their power and help them achieve their dreams. Because by this point, I had already lived out so many of my dreams in my short age. I said, there has to be more. There has to be more. And that's my constant seeking for more and for more and for more. Came back. I came back and I got my coaching certification. I went back to school and I've been working.
You are one of the very few guests, maybe the first, that I am speechless during the conversation. There's a message in here for me too. And this is the first time in a long time, because back in the day in seasons 1 and 2, every episode I would shed tears, I believe because I was growing at a very rapid rate. So every time I had someone on the show, I had these big aha moments, and I think I'm having one now. So we're going to pause here, Miss Clara, and we're going to take a sponsor break. But before we do that, for those of you watching, I know that you are being inspired right now by this young lady's story, Clara Angelina Diaz, life and business coach. She's also an inspirational speaker and author. We're going to talk a little bit more now, as after our sponsor break, about how exactly she's helping others to empower themselves. And as she just shared, step into their own power. You heard her backstory. And as I said on Facebook Live this morning, she walks the talk, honey. This is not just talk. She has lived, as you hear, through a lot in her short years here on this earth, and she has a lot more to give. So we're going to take a quick sponsor break, and we will be right back. Today's show is brought to you by reddirection.com. You build business tenacity, create the mindset for a strong business through comprehensive strategy, business impact, and idea development. You can get unstuck quick, get more time to focus on money-making activities. Just hop on over to reddirection.com to download the most popular product. Hashtag Healthy, Wealthy, Wise. It is a movement brought to you by Stan Richards, author, speaker, coach, and philanthropist. Stan has 3 gifts to get you started on your path. Hop on over to healthywealthywise.info for your goodies. And I am so grateful and appreciative to both of my sponsors for this episode. Love you both to pieces, and it's my honor to share your expertise with the world. All right, everyone, we are back, and you are watching CLB Live, broadcasting from Listen Vision Studios in Washington, D.C. I got to give a shout out, as always, to my Listen Vision family, and today, some extra love to my production engineer, Mike. Of course, I'm declaring my love for him, and he just walked out of the studio, but that's okay. He will hear me. Love you, Mike. Okay, so you are tuned in today. We're talking about empowering yourself with Clara Angelina Diaz. Beautiful spirit and soul, and her life work is dedicated to helping women especially, but men, you count too, step into their power more fully and walk in their purpose. I want to also give a shout out to Gail Harris, the beautiful light who put Clara and I want to call you Angelina, so I might as well start doing it. Is that okay?
Just might as well. Just go ahead.
Clara is just not working for me. It's a beautiful
Just
name.
call me Angelina. It's fine.
Yay. Okay, so I'm going to thank Gail, who put Angelina and I on each other's radar, because Gail, you are so intuitive. You are my intuition coach, and you knew what was going to happen when you put us together. And thank you for tuning in. I think she's watching us live, Angelina. Okay,
Wonderful.
So we heard about Angelina's backstory, and today, moving forward, we're going to talk about how she's here to serve you, how you can empower yourself. So, Clara, I'm flip-flopping from Clara to Angelina. Let's talk about, let's talk about this topic of empowering ourselves. I shared some thoughts this morning on Facebook Live that is in alignment with what you shared in terms of how we can get better aligned with finding out how to empower ourselves. And I touched on meditation. So I love that you shared that as one of your practices. But I want to hear from your perspective as in your field of expertise. How do you help us do this? How do we empower ourselves?
Yes. Well, the phrase that I tell people is know thyself. Know thyself. Because when you truly know who you are, the fact that, let's just put it this way, the makeup of our bodies, right? The chemical makeup of our bodies is the same as the earth, right? The fact that we live in a planet that is so specially positioned in the universe to give us everything we need. Just that in itself tells us how amazingly loved and designed we are by our Creator.
High five, honey. Come on. That is a high five statement. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Scientifically speaking, right? And what I encourage people to do is to really tap into their faith, whatever that is, that tells you who you are in relation to your Creator and to your source. When I realized, right, that I am a daughter of God, right, and just like this is kind of funny, but a dog has little puppies, right, that look just like the puppy. If I'm a daughter of God, right, I must have all of the attributes of God.
Amen. Yes.
Of spirit, of a daughter of the universe, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. But we need to realize our source and where we come from.
Yes.
Right? Realize what's already within us. That you're more than your name. You're more than what you look like. You're more than your skin color. You're more than your circumstances. That's only a tiny fraction of who we are. My name is Clara Angelina. That's awesome. Yes, but who am I really, right? Who am I before I was given that name?
Yes.
So dive into that. Really understand. And there's, so many ways to do this.
Sure.
Meditation and reading. And once we understand that, really operating from that place, from that place of power that's within us.
Yes.
And I love, to explain to people the difference between what is power and like power versus force, right? Like power includes, power has positive things to share. Power comes into a room and empowers others, right? And I'm not talking about the power that like pushes through things or forces its way through what needs to happen or dismisses what you feel.
Yes.
Power embraces everything, embraces wholeness. And for women, especially, right? I really love to talk about what's feminine power, right? Like the fact that every single human comes from a woman, right? That we are that creative power. Hello. I mean, like,
Yes, we've been chosen for that role. Yes.
Christine, right? The thing that I deal with the most in my coaching practice is women and their self-worth and not embracing their greatness.
Yes.
And I'm like, but hello, every single person comes from a woman. Like, self-worth, like what is that? That shouldn't even be a question.
Interesting. Interesting. So let's for a moment recap before we close out on how you exactly help folks. I like that you shared that we have to go within first. We're definitely on the same page there because that's empowerment comes from the divine. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so I love that you shared meditation, reading. Earlier in the conversation when you were sharing your backstory, you mentioned that when you are aware that the things come rushing to you. So it reminds me of the quote, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. So I believe that the how really takes care of itself. Once we tap in and tune in through the meditation, and then we have all of these books and programs like this one, people like you have come into my life that shine the spotlight on exactly what we need to focus on at this moment in time. That's what you did for me during our session. Girl, that session was very powerful because you really reminded me of my greatness. Folks, let me just not even mince words. Within, how long were we on the line for the formal coaching session? Like 45 minutes?
40 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't that long, but it was so impactful. Within 40 minutes, Clara was able to identify my balance in life, what areas I needed to improve, and exactly that tidbit of information I needed to have a bomb ass week. And I did. I closed one client. I got a new contract, and I invested in a new business venture with my mom that opens up another revenue stream. I'm just talking about the power of this woman. She is inspired. So Clara, continue, please. Yes, I agree with you. Women especially, we need that extra boost. We are so powerful, yet as a collective, even as individuals, we tend to look down on ourselves all the time. So can we talk about that? How now we do need people to direct us. I did say this in the Facebook Live. We do need people to guide us. That's why God put us here together so that we can connect with our divine connections and they can guide us on those areas we need improvement. You are one of these people for me. So let's talk about how you help folks do this. How do we apply what you're sharing with us?
Yeah, well, you need to have someone that will hold the space for you. Because if you're coming your entire life disempowered or empowered at some times and like only remembering like how awesome you are, you know, in like little sparks that like very randomly here and there, you need someone to help you kind of hold a space and be a mirror for you to remind you of how amazing you are and how special you are and how much of a gift you are to the world.
Yes.
And so that's my role. It's kind of saying, okay, I hear you, I hear your story, but this is who you truly are. Like, let's get rid of the smoke and the veil and like really see who you are and take actions from that place. So as I'm, we're taking this like whole view of yourself, we're then really pinpointing where are the places where you want to take action right away, or where it's necessary for you to take action right away. Because like for me, I don't like discomfort. I don't think people need to tolerate um, being in a state of lack, being disrespected, or anything that doesn't feel good. Like I feel that in an instant, like you can do things to switch that around. Either if that's you thinking differently about the situation or setting boundaries or whatever that is. I mean, I'm all about looking at the whole picture and then taking specific action and holding you accountable for taking those actions.
I love that. And I love your notable quotable. I think it's brilliant. And yes, you embody this where you have mastered combining the science of achievement with the art of letting go. That is a very delicate balance. And that is
Oh
something
yeah.
that I actually need in my life right now. Thanks again, Gail. Because we have to be in flow, we have to be
Yes.
detached from the outcome, but we also need to be intentional and actually accomplish these visions and these dreams that have been placed within our heart. And I love that you have mastered this. I think that you are one of a kind, my darling. One of a kind. So
So
before
are you.
we, aw, thank you. Thank you. So before we transition to our music segment where we'll still have some conversation, I would like for you to please share what's on your heart with the viewers, because the music segment is for our live viewers. So on the replay, it's not going to be there. So what would you like to share with your viewers? What's on your heart? What's your call to action or your inspirational message?
Yeah, well, I think the song you're gonna play is called it's in Spanish. It's called "Alma en Libertad," a free soul. And I think what's on my heart to share with people is to really tune in to who you are, tune into your feelings, tune into the way you feel. If you feel discomfort, like listen to yourself, and why do I feel this discomfort? What can I do to make things better for myself? And
Yes.
really go and take that action. Do not dismiss yourself. Do not ignore the way you feel. You can make life better for yourself. You have that power. You have that choice. Um, no one is the boss of you but you and God and the God within you. So I invite you to take the wheel of your life along with God and take the necessary steps to achieve your dreams, to live out your purpose, and to be the very best version of yourself that you can be where you are with what you have right now.
Amen, sister. And please share with us your current release. Is it called Create Your Best Year One Day at a Time?
Yes, yes. And so my intention is to be able to help as many people as I possibly can. So I created an audiobook I call Create Your Best Year One Day at a Time. I call it Life Coaching in a Bottle, or an inspirational guide, where you will have exercises on how to look at your life from a bird's eye view. Really think about what is my goal for the year. There's spoken word to inspire you to start living the best year of your life from where you are right now. So it's a compilation of how to exercises and poetry with beautiful music. You can hear a preview to each track on my website. It is on iTunes, it's on Amazon, it's on every digital platform, Spotify, Rhapsody, whatever you use, it's there. It's Create Your Best Year One Day at a Time, because I truly believe that is how we create life, is one day at a time, one moment at a time. And next thing you know, you don't, not only do you have the best year of your life, but you have the best life you could have imagined for yourself. And that is my prayer for everyone and every single person that I work with in my coaching practice.
Love it. And for those of you that may not have seen, Clara shared on clblive.tv on the event page for this episode, you shared one of your love poems, right?
Yes.
It's beautiful. Thank you for that. I've listened to it about three
Welcome.
times already. And how do we find you? Is it claraangelinadiaz.com? Is that the best place?
Yes.
Okay, so everyone, you heard, if you are feeling, you heard her call to action is tune in, go within, and manifest that God that's within you, that divinity. And if you feel that little spark that this lady has ignited, act on that, please, because that means that she could be a divine connection for you. She could be exactly who you need at this moment in your life to remind you of the great person that you are. So please connect with Clara at claraangelinadiaz.com. If you don't have all of that written down or you're on the go, just hop on over to clblive.tv and you'll see all of her information there. I'll be sure to share it with you. We are not done, live viewers. If you're tuned in, I am so grateful for you because you have chosen to jumpstart your weekend with us. And so we're transitioning into our music segment. Here we go. Mike loves to do that. I love when he does that. This song, Clara. The time goes by so quickly. So quickly. Ms. Diaz, thank you for not just being here with us today, which is priceless. What you shared, your story, and your message is impacting many. And I'm so happy that God has preserved your life
Oh,
through
thank
those
you.
crazy circumstances, so that you can carry on this work because, especially for women, we share that in common as well. I had a women's network that is in rest right now. I hear race cars. Yeah, especially for women, we need that extra boost. We need that reminder of how powerful we are, how great we are, and that we have a place in this world. Men,
Yes.
we love you too, men, but you don't need to be reminded as much as we do. All right, lady?
Yeah, and the men to hold the space for the
Yes.
women.
Yes.
You know, I think that's the healing of the world comes from uplifting the women. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So please connect with Clara again, claraangelinadiaz.com. Tune in to clblive.tv. That will take you to the official Facebook page for the show. This episode is right at the top of the page. Just click on that and you will automatically become a part of this conversation because, as you will find out, these conversations never end. Just this week, I shared a snippet or two from two different past guests on their event pages to continue these conversations because that's what this is about. We are here on this earth as individuals, but we are one. We're all connected, not just within ourselves, but also with nature and the universe. So let's be a part of this conversation together and live life at its highest potential. Replay will for this show will be made available Monday morning. You can tune into clblive.tv. You can also subscribe to the CLB Live archive on YouTube. Just go to christinelbowen.com/YouTube and you'll see this replay as well as all the past episodes. I want you to have a blessed weekend. Be sure to step into your power. Remind yourself, look in that mirror and remind yourself that you are a child of God. We're going to close out with one of my favorite power songs by the controversial Nicki Minaj, but this song right here is so empowering. It's called Fly, featuring Rihanna. Yes, so enjoy the video, enjoy the tunes, and we'll see you next week. Same place, same time, Listen Vision Studios, Washington, D.C., with our very special guest, James R. Cooper. I'll see you then. Take care, everyone.